A 7-year-old failed my swim test and I made him cry. His mother showed up the next day with a lawyer. She was standing in the lobby of Bluecrest Swim Academy at 9:04 on a Friday morning, arms crossed, and next to her stood a woman in a charcoal blazer holding a leather portfolio like a weapon. Behind them, half hidden by his mother's leg, was 7-year-old Milo Ashworth, still in his school uniform, eyes puffy like he'd been crying again in the car. "This is Renata Farrow," his mother Corinne said, before I even finished saying good morning. "She's my attorney." My stomach dropped through the tile. I'd run swim tests at this pool for 6 years, 11 years total across 3 pools, and I had never once had a parent walk in with legal counsel before the coffee maker finished its first pot. I asked if we could talk somewhere private. Corinne didn't look at me once on the walk to my office. I run the aquatics program at Bluecrest, a 3-location swim school chain around Austin, owned by a man named Grant Pemberton who wore boat shoes on the pool deck and told parents, with total sincerity, "Bluecrest kids graduate confident, not just wet." I believed that line for years. What I never loved was the banner over the front desk claiming 96% of Bluecrest graduates passed their level test on the first try. I did that math more than once and it never sat right, but I let it go, the same way I let go a dozen smaller oddities over 6 years. It started 2 days earlier. Milo was my 415, the last level 3 test of the day, 8 weeks in my class, a cautious kid. The test was simple: jump into the deep end, tread water 60 seconds with no touching the wall, swim 25 yards freestyle, retrieve a ring off the bottom, climb out alone. Milo jumped in clean. For 20 seconds he looked fine. Then his kicks got sloppy. His arms started slapping instead of pulling, and his head went fully under for almost 2 full seconds before he came up coughing, grabbing for the wall. I had him at the edge in a second flat. He was never in real danger. He didn't know that. He sobbed the hard, gasping sob of a kid who can't catch a breath between cries. I marked the sheet the only honest way I could. Fail, not ready, retest in 3 weeks. He sat on the lobby bench afterward drawing a shark on the back of an old flyer, and when I asked what he was drawing, he said, "Sharks can hold their breath forever." I told him people can't. That's why we practice. I sent his mother the standard post-test text that evening. She never responded. I told myself that was nothing. It wasn't until the next morning, seeing Farrow and Nakamura written on my visitor sign-in sheet, that I understood I'd been wrong. In my office, Renata Farrow set a single sheet of paper on my desk, my own test sheet, the word fail circled in red. "I'd like to understand exactly what happened in that pool on Thursday," she said, calm, level, not the tone of someone threatening me, which threw me more than open hostility would have. Corinne cut in, sharp. "He was underwater. You let my son go underwater." I told her, gently, that a brief submersion wasn't unusual, and I'd been within arm's reach the whole time. "He's 7, she said. "He trusted you." Something about that word landed wrong in my chest. It didn't sound like a mother upset over hurt feelings. It sounded like a woman whose trust had already been broken somewhere else, deciding whether I belonged in that same pile. Then the attorney asked a question I did not see coming. She asked how many students, over the last 12 months, I had personally failed on a first attempt level 3 test. I told her I'd need to pull the records. Corinne said, mostly to herself, staring at my test sheet, "How many other kids has this happened to?" I realized this meeting had never really been about Milo crying at the edge of a pool. It was about something Corinne had already suspected walking in the door, something bigger than me, and I had no idea yet what that was. The attorney stood, gathered her folder, and at the door she paused. "For what it's worth, Miss Vance," she said, "I don't think you're the one we're building a case against." That afternoon I pulled the pass rate records for every Bluecrest location, and one number on the page made my hands go cold at the keyboard. Full story is only on Spotify. Search GurkoStory and follow.